Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the first two episodes for the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries. So of all the things that Disney Plus has been putting out that's Star Wars related, this was one of the ones that I was actually pretty excited for and looking forward to, was this Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And the reason being is one of my favorite things about the prequels was Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there's this thing that when an actor portrays a character on screen, and they become so well known in that role, it's hard for another actor to come in and take their place. And it's not too often you have an actor that will equal the original, or in even rarer cases surpass the original. For example, Spock, the character of Spock. Leonard Nimoy, in my mind, is Spock. There's no separating the two. The way he looks, the way he acts when he's Spock, everything. That is Spock to me. Zachary Quinto came close. He did a good job of playing Spock in the 2009 Star Trek film. But he's not Spock. He's a good stand-in, but he's not Leonard Nimoy. And now even further from that is the new Spock on Strange New Worlds. I think Gregory Peck is the name of the actor that portrays him, or Ethan Peck. He's even now further removed. He's not doing nearly as good of a job as portraying Spock as Zachary Quinto did, but he's like just another Spock stand-in. It's not the real thing, no matter what. For me, it's never going to be the real thing. So it's not too often that an actor will come in and actually equal the original actor. So growing up in my mind, like Alec Guinness was always Obi-Wan Kenobi. I couldn't imagine someone like trying to come in and step in, take over that role. But Ewan McGregor not only took over that role, but owned it and equals the original actor. So when I watch it, I'm not watching a stand-in play Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, if that makes any sense. So that was the draw to this miniseries. So now the first two episodes dropped this weekend. So I watched the first one Friday morning, and then the second episode this afternoon. And my initial thoughts on it's not bad. The first two episodes are pretty good. They were fun to watch. And I think that it seems like it's getting a lot of unjustifiable criticism from a lot of people on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. There's definitely a lot worse Star Wars content in existence for sure than this miniseries in these first two episodes. And one of the arguments is the whole bait and switch argument, that people were saying that this was going to be a bait and switch, that they were advertising it as an Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries, but it was really going to be about this new character, Reva. But after watching the two first episodes, I don't see a bait and switch at all. This is clearly about Obi-Wan Kenobi. He has a lot of screen time in it. The whole story is revolving around him. The whole motivation of the antagonist, Reva, is to find Obi-Wan Kenobi. So even when Obi-Wan Kenobi's not on screen, all the other characters are talking about and trying to hunt down and get Obi-Wan Kenobi. So he's definitely the center of the story. It's not like Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe, where you had He-Man basically take a backseat and Teela's the focus and the star of the whole thing. It's not like that at all. So now, when I'm going to talk about more detail about the plot. So I'll give a quick rundown of the plot. So there's going to be some mild spoilers, so spoiler warning right now. So now this takes place about a decade after Revenge of the Sith, and there are still some Jedi left, and they're being hunted down by the Inquisitors. Now, what the Inquisitors are exactly, they are like not quite Sith. They're like pseudo-Sith guys. They're Force guys, but they're dark side users, and they're being used to hunt down the remaining Jedi. So this new character, Reva, she's one of them, and she was actually one of the younglings that was taken from the Jedi Temple when the initial attack went down, when all the clone troopers stormed in there and started slaughtering Jedi. So she was one of those. She was a youngling that was taken over and then turned into one of these Inquisitors. Now, the whole idea of the Inquisitors is something I have a problem with, but I'll talk more about that later on. So now, Reva is convinced Obi-Wan Kenobi is alive, and it is her goal to track him down and bring him to Lord Vader. And she's having a lot of conflicts with the other Inquisitors because they're not on the same page. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's on Tatooine. He's been hiding, kind of watching over Luke, and he's had a few interactions with Owen, and Owen really doesn't like him and wants him to stay away out of their life. He says, you don't need to be in Luke's life. He doesn't need to be a Jedi. We don't want anything to do with you. Get lost, basically. So so that's what's happening. So now where the story really kind of kicks off is Princess Leia is in this story, a very young girl, and she gets kidnapped by some bounty hunters on her home planet and taken away. So now her father, Bail Organa, goes to Obi-Wan and begs Obi-Wan to help him get his daughter back. He's the only one who can do it because they can't raise too much of a stink, because no one is supposed to know the true origin or what Leia is all about, obviously. So Obi-Wan Kenobi is a little bit of a broken man in this mini-series at the start. Doesn't have the same confidence level. He's kind of like worn down, and he doesn't think he can do it. He tells him, you're going to have to find someone else. I can't do it. But eventually he does it. He goes off and he goes out to seek out and rescue Leia. But the whole thing, Leia being kidnapped and taken by these bounty hunters, it's all a trap that was laid by the Reva Inquisitor to draw Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding and bring him out so she can catch him. So that's really where the story takes off from there. And so now I'll talk about some of the things I liked and some of the things I didn't like about these first 2 episodes. So some of the things I liked. Right off the bat, Ewan McGregor returning as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was the best thing about the prequels, and I love him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's great to see him back in the role. The other thing I really liked, actually, was the little girl who portrayed Leia. I think she did a fantastic job, and where she is kind of brazen and talks back and stuff, it really reminds me of Leia from A New Hope and how she interacts with Grand Moff Tarkin and Vader and all that kind of thing. So I think she did a good job. So those are 2 things that I really like. And the other thing I like, it kind of fixes... Now, there is a big continuity violation in this series, but there is actually a canon patch. Something that was never really made sense to me, how the prequels and A New Hope lined up. So I never understood why Owen Lars didn't want Luke to go anywhere and really wanted him to have nothing to do, didn't want him to go anywhere near Ben Kenobi, and just wanting him to forget about Ben Kenobi and being very adamant and almost like he hated Ben Kenobi. That's the impression I always got from watching that. And when you watch the prequels, there's no indication there's any animosity between the two, and you never really understood why Owen Lars in New Hope seems to really dislike Obi-Wan Kenobi. So now this miniseries kind of fills that in and answers it. We kind of get to see them actually more face-to-face and interact with each other. And the reason why Owen Lars doesn't want him to have anything to do with Luke is because he knows how things turned out for Anakin. And so he thinks it's just, I don't want him to do with the Jedi. I don't want him to have anything to do with you. Just stay out of our lives. Stay away. So I kind of like that it kind of fixed that. But now it has the other this big canon violation that Obi-Wan Kenobi is basically going to rescue Leia, and now it's not directly said, but it's very heavily implied that she didn't know who Obi-Wan Kenobi was before A New Hope. So there's that. Now, those are some of the things I liked, and I'll talk more about some of the things I didn't like. So, as I said, right off the bat, I already mentioned this, the seeming canon violation may not be. We'll see how the whole miniseries plays out with Obi-Wan meeting Leia. And the other complaint I had, some of the CGI looked cheap in this. Some of the ships and stuff, I thought, it should be seamless at this point. This is Disney Plus. It shouldn't look like a video game. And as for Reva, the character, I don't know yet, but I have a bad feeling they're just going to play it really safe with the character. But one thing about the character I find, and this is something no one is talking about when they talk about criticizing this character, is just the visual design of the character. One thing I like about Star Wars is I always found the good guys to be kind of boring. On the boring side, they kind of look boring. They kind of are designed a little bit boring looking because they look just like ordinary people. Where visually, the bad guys was where it was at. Like, you look how cool looking Darth Maul is, how cool looking Vader is, how cool looking the Emperor looks. Now Reva comes along, she just looks like ordinary human. Like, there's nothing besides like the generic black armor that the other Inquisitors had that's kind of Vader-esque. Like, just nothing visually striking about the character that makes her stand out, to make her really stand out and look obviously evil. If you know what I'm saying. Like, it'd be cool if they gave her yellow eyes or gave her some Sith tattoos to make her a really cool looking, visually cool looking character. Now, the other thing I think is they're going to play it safe. Like, instead of just making this character straight up evil and deliciously evil, I have the feeling the character's going to be like, eventually is going to turn to the good side and turn out not really to be evil. I think that's the route they're going to go with this character. And the other thing I don't really care for, and it's not only this show, it's just with the new lore that has been expanded upon in Star Wars in general, is the idea of these Inquisitors I don't like to begin with. I don't like the idea that there were a lot of other Force users running around during the time, between the events of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Why would there be other Force users? That kind of goes against the whole ideology of the Sith. There should be two of them, that's it. Because now if you have these other dark side users, it starts to get back to the same problem of why the rule of two was created in the first place. The whole movement, or the whole order of the Sith, can start to get watered down by these weaker dark side users. And the reason why there are two, because if you got more than one, they'll start to turn on each other for their hunger of power, which we've already seen. It's already happened in the second episode. That's why they keep it to two all the time. So I never really liked the idea of the Inquisitors. But overall, I think for the first two episodes, it's not bad. It's not the best science fiction I've ever seen, obviously, as far as science fiction goes. As far as Star Wars go, I think it's pretty good. And if you compare, so far, I think it's a lot better than the Book of Boba Fett. It's not quite as good as The Mandalorian, but it's better than the Book of Boba Fett, if that makes any sense. And I'll see how the rest of it plays out. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.